Dan Rutz has more on the story in Health Week. The tennis great admitted having AIDS reluctantly, fearing the announcement would violate his privacy. Ashe said he found out 4 years ago after being diagnosed with toxoplasmosis, an infection that often shows up in people whose immune systems are weakened. Although he has full-fledged AIDS, Ashe says the disease has not slowed him down much.
In general, I am not sick. I live a very normal life. I can play 36 holes of golf and walk. I can do just about anything any of you all in here can do, unless you happen to run in the New York Marathon.
Blood bank officials stress there is a very low risk of contracting AIDS from blood transfusions. Since blood bank screening began in 1985, the Centers for Disease Control says there have been just 20 confirmed cases out of 20 million people who've received blood transfusions.
CNN Health Week.
Welcome. AIDS is estimated to be making its greatest gains in developing countries of Central Africa and Southern Asia, while there are signs of a leveling off of the epidemic in the United States and Western Europe. The head of the Harvard AIDS Institute says the worldwide AIDS epidemic is spreading faster than it otherwise would because of a lack of leadership among public health officials.
But we are witnessing a massive collective global failure to deal with this epidemic. That is, at the collective level, at the national level, at the international level, we are witnessing a failure. Failure to confront the epidemic, failure to deal with the underlying issues that fuel the epidemic, and therefore the numbers show this, the continued intensified spread of this epidemic.
U.S. health officials point out, in theory, anyone who is sexually active can get AIDS, although so far 9 out of 10 cases have occurred in homosexual men, those who shoot drugs through dirty needles, and their sex partners. But among those at greatest risk, there is evidence that some are throwing caution to the winds. Among the most persistent of the demonstrators' slogans, silence equals death. On a quieter street, the unspoken counterpart. Here, apathy replaces silence. People who know better take big chances.
Do you have any idea how many people you've had sex with in the last, say, 6 months?
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. 300-400, it feels like. I'm all sexed out.
At 19, Ron says he has HIV, an occupational hazard for a street hustler.
I've been raped on a date. Who forced, tied me up.
San Francisco is still a magnet for alternative lifestyles, and not everyone heeds the safer sex message. Young men in particular place themselves at risk of getting AIDS by offering sex for sale up and down this street.
A lot of the older men go for the younger, under 18, and others go for the older, more mature men that know how to satisfy.
Right now on Polk Street is very desperate, and we get a lot of kids out here that will do it without a condom because of the price. Because they'll starve to death if they don't.
The price is higher for clients who don't like condoms. This man, not yet 18, says he doesn't have the virus, but is willing to risk his life for a few extra dollars.
I've been lucky. I have done a lot of stupid things. I have been lucky. I swear to God, I have been lucky.
Do you worry about your luck running out?
Every single day.
But it's not enough to keep you from coming back here for more.
I have to survive. I stopped doing this. I'm on the street.
That's a very difficult population. What we have to first find out is why are they on the street? What led them there?
Harold Lemke is a social worker. He counsels gays on how to avoid falling back into dangerous habits.
If they're already infected, a lot of times they just throw themselves to fate. Since they're already infected, they just decide to go with it and just party and, die that death.
Health officials estimate nearly half the city's 50,000 gay men are infected with the so-called AIDS virus. Every 8 hours, a person here dies of AIDS as another becomes newly infected. To the young especially, fears of death are easily dismissed. Jerry DeYoung is an AIDS educator who failed to heed his own advice.
It still does not change the fact that, I had unsafe sex and I ended up becoming infected with the virus.
It's not planned. It's sort of like spontaneous. It just happens. So we want to look at the pattern. Are they drinking, going out, partying, and then they have unsafe sex or what? And help them look at that pattern and figure out a way of stopping it.
When we talk about relapse among gay men, it sounds judgmental to me. It sounds like, those damn gay men are out there relapsing and having unsafe sex, and they should know better. And what we forget is that what we're referring to as relapse for gay men is nothing but normal, everyday sexual expression for everyone else on this planet.
Losing it in the heat of the moment, I think, is what we hear from the client when they first come to us. When we start doing our counseling and focusing on the real issue behind this, we usually uncover some much deeper things. And one is the sense of depression, despair, frustration.
Lemke fears some gays see AIDS as a unifying force and may actually feel alienated if they don't have it. To DeYoung, avoiding AIDS is a matter of discipline. He points out that in relationships between men and women, men are less likely to think first of protection.
It's amazing, the ignorance of not only a male. I don't want to be sexist, but I'm just, it's amazing.
It takes more than us sitting shaking fingers and saying, you need to stop this because it's not good for you.
Explicit, repetitive messages are one way, educators say, to make a lasting impression.
It's also developing a habit, making safer sex your habit. First erection, you put on a condom, like that. It's not even a thought of thing anymore.
A survey by the San Francisco AIDS Foundation finds 1 out of 3 homosexual men admits to risky sex practices. Education campaigns may improve the statistics, but ultimately it is up to the individual. You're in the epicenter of an epidemic here. You know that?
Mm-hmm. It's sad. It's sad.
Nowhere is it more clear than on the streets of San Francisco. In other health news, drug regulators take no claims for granted. Coming up, a new wrinkle in face creams.
Reintroducing a glorious name for a glorious new automobile. The 1992 Buick Roadmaster. With its powerful V8 performance and the security of its driver's airbag, anti-lock brakes, and full perimeter frame, Roadmaster is perhaps the best value in an American luxury sedan. Roadmaster also delivers something only a Buick can deliver. Buick quality.
Flashman's Margarine asks, what is good? Flashman's Margarine. Be good to yourself.
Somebody put these Harvest Crisps in the wrong box.
Delicious.
Right, so what's a delicious cracker like that doing in a box that says low fat, no cholesterol?
Beats me.
I mean, if Harvest Crisps are so good for you, how come I can't stop eating them?
I don't know, hon.
I love them.
Two great cultures come face to face in Memphis. The splendors of the Ottoman Sultans reveals the full majesty of the Ottoman Empire. Opulent art and jeweled treasures, including the famed Topkapi dagger, reflect the glory of a dynasty which ruled for centuries. Also in Memphis, the Etruscans, legacy of a lost civilization, relics of the mysterious people who first ruled the Italian peninsula. Call for ticket information and come face to face with them both in Memphis.
Along with the Glaciers, a string quartet. There are Eagles and old world antiques. Midnight Sun, Rosenthal China, the finest service, and the spouting of whales. Surely there is no land on earth more magnificent and wild than Alaska, and no way more civilized to see it than aboard the ships of Holland America, the world's best cruise line.
When you think your Medicare bill is too high, what should you do? Some older Americans told Congress this week there are big obstacles just getting to the bottom of the problem.
I began what turned out to be a wild goose chase for accurate information and useful assistance. First, I called Social Security. I must have called Social Security 25 to 30 times at different intervals. Social Security referred me to Medicare and the Department of Fraud and Abuse. When I called the Department of Fraud office, I was told to call my Medicare carrier. When I called Medicare, I was told to call my doctor to find out what I really had to pay.
Advocates for the elderly accuse the government of not enforcing restrictions on some doctors' payments and not notifying Medicare patients what those limits are. The government says only a tiny percent of Medicare claims show evidence of overcharging. Concerns about overcharging in the home health care industry prompted one viewer to write to us. Marie Costas Weber of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, cares for her sick daughter at home. She says she pays almost 6 times more for intravenous fluids and medications than the same items cost when her daughter is hospitalized. She writes, "It is cheaper for my daughter to spend her life in an intensive care unit than to live at home where I provide 100% of her care. The industry of home health care must be controlled. Greed has completely taken over." Send your comments and opinions on any of our medical reports. Write News from Medicine, 1 CNN Center, Atlanta, Georgia. Medical experts told Congress this week that buying over-the-counter drugs with antihistamines to relieve cold symptoms is like throwing money out with a tissue box.
Americans spend more than $1 billion every year on cold medicines. And yet antihistamines, a major ingredient in most of these medications, do not relieve cold symptoms. The latest medical research concludes that no matter what the commercials may tell you, antihistamines do not provide relief from the sneezing and runny nose caused by colds.
Antihistamines can cause potentially harmful side effects. A House subcommittee wants to know why the Food and Drug Administration allows antihistamines to remain in non-prescription cold medicines if they don't work and carry risks besides. The government also decided this week whether an acne medication, sometimes prescribed as a wrinkle remover, can really do what promoters say it can. Jeff Levine reports.
Sharon Kirk believes one of the reasons for her smooth complexion is that she uses Retin-A to treat facial wrinkles. The 39-year-old started applying the medicine 3 years ago.
Some of my wrinkles have disappeared. My skin feels better. It looks better. It even takes a different color.
Retin-A was approved by the Food and Drug Administration for treating acne in 1971. But it's widely prescribed as a remedy for wrinkles and sun-damaged skin. Doctors have considerable freedom in determining how drugs are used. Now an advisory panel to the FDA has voted unanimously to recommend Retin-A as a treatment for fine wrinkles, sun damage, and roughness of the skin.
No other comments? We're ready for a vote. All those in favor of the statement that has just been read, let the record show it's unanimous.
If ultimately approved by the FDA, there would be a new version of Retin-A specifically for wrinkles. The drug is a synthetic version of vitamin A.
We provided data that shows that roughness, brown spots, and wrinkles are improved by retinoic acid.
But